Good morning, this is Jack from Charting Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for, hey George, the morning of Monday, the 9th of June. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some volume down, learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to issue trading signals. This is a video for paying subscribers at chartingthemarkets.substack.com and is published on YouTube after a delay of 24 hours. Okay, right. Now, the first thing to say is I was talking about the bearish stats last week. Today, the stats are bullish, and the last two the bearish days that I was talking about are Tuesday and Wednesday. We might see some retracement during that period, not necessarily, but I'm thinking we might well do. So I would, I'll show you what I would like that to get us to in terms of the charts on QQQ and Dia particularly, but I'll get to those with the RTH charts. In the short term, we've got some potential nested double tops here. I'm not expecting these to play out. I haven't got much suggestion on the bigger picture charts that they might play out, but it's possible, seeing and I always watch these as they form. NQ, again, we got a nested potential double top here. RTY is extending higher at the moment. This, of course, on the bigger picture, has got a large IHS which is breaking up here. So this is the right shoulder which is completed and broken up. Looking at YM, we've got a potential double top here too. This is the only one that hasn't quite, I think it's a tick or two short of retesting this May high, but it's very close, and I'm calling those effectively all as retested. Last night, the only hourly sell signal we had left on the US indices, indices that I track here was DAX, and that's now made target, and ESTX. We'd already made the possible near miss target, and I'd already called it. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts, and on Dia. Right, let's have a look at SPS first. Yes, we got a potential double top here. Obviously, we got pretty clear support at the daily middle band, and we've got the same support on the SPX. So, and at the moment, I'm not seeing anything compelling saying this is about to break. We do have, however, some weak negative divergence. That would be very easily lost, but if that fixed, that would actually be something. And I think we've got that on NQ as well. Nothing really on the hourly chart, but what I've been watching for, and I've mentioned 2 or 3 times, is I've been waiting for the moment at which we have a sufficient retracement to get us down to this support trend line here, and we've now got down there, went down below it. This is important because obviously as we go higher, I've mentioned that we don't have a decent looking pattern here, and we couldn't do really till we established a decent support trend line. We've now got a decent support trend line. It might go a bit lower, but we can set up a decent support trend line here, and this gives us the option to get a decent looking pattern as we go higher. Looking at the Qs, again, obvious support is at the daily middle band. Nothing on the hourlies. Here we haven't reached that point yet, and my hope is that we might reach that on Tuesday or Wednesday. And then set up the possibility of getting a decent pattern there too. Dia, very clear support at the daily middle band. We've got on Qs, we've got a little bit of negative divergence, so I haven't marked it in, but we've got a possible weak RSI 14 sell signal brewing. And do we have a weak? Actually, I'm not sure. Retest this high might be needed for a weak RSI 5 sell signal brewing, although actually I think this might be a full-sized one. We're getting some negative divergence here, so I'm aware of that. So looking at that, again, I'm hoping that we get down to this trend line here, and that can set up the possibility of getting some decent patterns as we go higher, which is what I would normally expect in this situation, because we don't have any decent mature looking patterns. All right, looking at IWM. IWM, we've got this IHS, obviously, which has broken up. This has got a pretty clear target at a retest of the all-time high. And this is what I was talking about in the last post as the most bullish pattern we've got on the indices. Now, that's not to say this is going to play out. This might be breaking up, and of course, it could fail. But we've got pretty clear support at the daily middle band there too. We've had a couple of hard breaks below, but nothing which is stuck. So this is broken up now, and I'm watching it with great interest. No divergence on IWM, but you can see a nice look at the inverted head and shoulders here. Here we were already at the stage where we could form a decent pattern. So we don't need to go any lower for that. DAX, we've still got an RSI 5 sell signal fixed. We've got a possible weak RSI 14 sell signal brewing. Nothing compelling saying that we're going to fail. Nice support at the daily middle band again. And Nikkei, this, we've got a arguable IHS here, but I think it's oversized, so I haven't marked it in. But if we do see IWM head up and make that target, then I'm thinking we may well see a retest of this high here in the 42.4 area. All right, let's have a quick look at currencies. DX. We have a potential double bottom here on DX, and actually it's broken up. Now, we've seen a 50% retrace after that. That's not unusual. But if we make that target, then that would get us back up to the weekly pivot at 98.58, and the extension target would get us up into about the 99.9 area. This looks okay, nothing hugely compelling, but we've got a little level top set up here on the euro, GBP, potential larger double top setup. Breaking up slightly from this declining resistance on USD/JPY. It's nothing compelling, but we could definitely see that double bottom play out. Looking at bonds, we've got negative divergence. Sorry, not negative divergence. We've got bear flags which are breaking down on all of ZB, Xian, and TLT. These are the obvious target for all of these is a retest of this low in May, and I think I'm not seeing any reason to think they won't all make target. This is the ones at end. We've got a double bottom which is broken up here, and that could well be failing, and it's more than halfway back to the lows from this point here. Actually, it's more than halfway back from this high. But I also drew in a possible bear flag there, and so sometimes you get two patterns, and it looks like the second one is the one that's playing out. All right, looking at CL. CL is broken up over this obvious trend line here. This could be a bearish overthrow, but I have to say this little back test and continuation up is arguing against that. What we do have is a nice looking little rising wedge here, and I've got possible resistance for that up here in about the 65.5 area. So I'll be watching that. But I am thinking it might be heading up into this trend line here, which I've got in the 67.5 area. HO has gone higher here, and I'm wondering about this trend line, which I've got in about the 2.21 area. On RBOB, less strong, but looking really for a retest this high here, or possibly a move into this trend line here in about the 2.185 area. Looking at NG, this is just tracking sideways at the moment. This could rally a bit further with oil. Really, this is a rectangle, which I'd be leaning towards seeing a bullish breakup, and ideally, I'm thinking this setup leans towards A, B, C, maybe getting up here into the 4.2 to 4.3 area, and setting up an overall bear flag. Looking at GC, we've got a little level top which is broken down with a target in about the 32.90 area, 32.85 I think. That's got support at the monthly pivot at 33.14. Nothing compelling saying this isn't going to make target. SI, we've got a little 60-minute sell signal fixed here. I'm wondering about a bit of retracement. We've got an open, I was mentioning on the bigger picture webinar last night that we've got open hourly sell signals also on GDX and GDXJ. On platinum, we also we had a 60-minute sell signal, but that has now failed as we've gone a little higher. This is now decisively broken out of the 2-year compression range that it was in, and gone and retested the top of the top of that triangle. Nothing compelling saying this is about to turn. On palladium has gone higher as well. No current negative divergence. HG, this is the obvious read here is this is a rising megaphone, and the next obvious target is a test of the monthly pivot. It's 4.68 because that's where the trend line is. All right, let's have a look at KC. KC, we've got. We had a breakup from this wedge, and I think we're forming a reversal pattern. That could be an inverted head and shoulders, and we could be completing the right shoulder and heading back up to the neckline, or we could continue down into a retest of the low. We'll see. No divergence really to light the way there. SB, now on the bigger picture, this is actually breaking down significantly from a head and shoulders, which is suggesting this could go a lot lower, down to basically the 9 area. So I'm a little wary about that. Shorter term, this looks like a falling megaphone, and I'd be leaning towards this breaking up at some stage and retracing a bit. But bigger picture, that kind of looks bearish. CC, this looks like a bear flag. Weak 6-minute sell signal fixed. I'm leaning towards this setting up a retest of this low. On cotton, possible double bottom forming. Lumber, this looks like a bear flag forming. On wheat, this could be the second high of a double top. So I'm watching this carefully. We're seeing a bit of rejection from this high at the moment. This could be taking us back into a retest this low here at 506 and a quarter. On corn, possible double bottom here. Reached resistance, but not getting any further so far. Soy, this looks like a bull flag, and we are breaking up slightly over flag resistance. The obvious target would be a retest of this high here in about the 108.1.5 area. On ZL, we've got an IHS here, just a little one, although that actually has already broken up and already failed, has it? No, it's breaking up now. So I've marked in the target, and I've got that in the 49.75 area, and obviously that's a pretty good match with what's happening on soybeans. Looking at live cattle, we've reached a one of the trend lines I drew in, and we've got a possible rising wedge here. And lean hogs, we've got a possible rising wedge, and we are potentially overthrowing it slightly or starting a break up. We did have a 60-minute cycle, and that failed. All right, great. Let's have a quick look at questions. No questions? Okay, right. Today, this week, we've got bullish leaning tape today, and we've got bearish leaning tapes tomorrow and Wednesday. If we are going to see a bit lower, and I think for patterned reasons, I'd like to see this go a little lower, particularly on QQQ and Dia, then that is when we are likely to see that. We shall see. My pleasure as always, mate, and I will catch you guys tomorrow. Take care.